we gotta hold the line. We gotta stand strong, and it doesn't end with the truckers. So every fucking Canadian needs to wake up. This doesn't end with the truckers. It ends with every industry, whether it's truckers, doctors, nurses, construction workers, pilots, doctors, janitors, teachers, you name it. It doesn't end with the truckers. So everybody wake the up. Like, honestly, it's been too long.
Like, what happened to freedom? Like, where's Canada going with this? Like, you know, like I've been affected by the lockdowns, lost my job, you know, switched careers, you know what I mean? So like the people that have been affected are the ones that are standing up. The people that didn't lose their jobs or they're just happy going on with life, you know, following the rules, they're okay. But you know what? Other people are suffering and we need to have compassion for those people.
Hi, Canada, and basically for me, give me liberty or give me death. It's at that point now.
There, you have a message for the Prime Minister or the Premier?
Good luck winning the next election.
Go truckers go! Go truckers go! Go truckers go! Go truckers go!
Tamara Ugolini here with Rebel News. I'm on the north side of Queen's Park, the lawn right by the horse, as you can see in the background here, for the weekly protest that's taken place every Saturday, this location, since April of 2020, with protesters and people feeling continually like they are not being heard by their elected officials, all levels of the bureaucracy, from the municipal government to the provincial MPPs to the federal MPs. And now, of course, as we've seen with the Freedom Convoy 2022, the truckers, people are more fed up than ever before. They want to see a stop to the mandates, stop with the government overreach. And how does the government respond? With more government overreach.
Today, I'm using my authority as Premier of Ontario to declare a state of emergency in our province. And I will convene Cabinet to use legal authorities to urgently enact orders that will make crystal clear it is illegal and punishable to block and impede the movement of goods, people, and services along critical infrastructure.
So people are here today despite Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario, declaring a state of emergency in the province to try to deal with the ongoing blockades and protesters and the truck convoys. As you can see behind me, there are hundreds of people here already. The protest is just getting started. And as our fearless Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has stated, along with the Premier of Ontario Doug Ford, that anyone who joins into these protests is now doing so illegally. They've heard their voices loud and clear, and that it's time to go home.
If you joined the protests because you're tired of COVID, you now need to understand that you are breaking laws. The consequences are becoming more and more severe. You don't end up losing your license, end up with a criminal record, which will impact your job, your livelihood, even your ability to travel internationally, including to the US. We've heard your frustration with COVID, with the measures that are there to keep people safe. We've heard you. It's time to go home now.
So I'm here on the ground to get a feel from the people in attendance to see whether or not they're in alignment with those sentiments. Stay tuned. Tell me about what you're holding in your hands here.
I am holding a rose, and it says Canadians want freedom. That's what we want, like we had before, like I grew up with freedom. And now the communists are taking over, and they're imposing mandates everywhere. And that goes from the federal, provincial, municipal. I'm against all that. And I don't like the way people are being treated. The children especially. Nobody should be forced to have vaccines. It should be a choice. My body, my choice. And I meet wonderful people like this lady here. And we encourage each other. And I always feel so peaceful when I come here. There's no violence. Everybody wants peace, and we were looking forward to seeing some trucks, but there won't be any today.
What do you think of Prime Minister Trudeau saying that anyone who joins into the protest at this point is doing so illegally?
I think that's like taking away our freedom to peacefully protest and our right, because I've been here for a few weekends and seen what's happening in Ottawa, and it's all peaceful, so I don't think he has the right to say we can't protest what we believe is freedom. Yeah.
Tell me about your sign here in just a few short words.
The sign is about the human rights. They're not to wear this mask. At the end of the day, it's just an experiment, right? And they don't want to give the data. That's why. And we want just to go back to normal, I guess, you know, to do the normal life like before. That's what we want, the only thing.
So your sign here, discourse before force, I mean, that's a great sentiment because the government has just taken on more enforcement rather than just removing the mandates. Can you make sense of that?
No, I can't make sense of it. And when I hear the Prime Minister say everything's on the table, I'm really confused because why are we calling in all these police and the army before we even talk to them? Like, what happened to diplomacy? Perhaps a compromise could be reached. I don't understand it at all, and it's really confusing to me.
So this protest, as I mentioned, has been ongoing since April 2020, continually peaceful, and yet we have police here behind me with batons and ready to enforce maybe this state of emergency that Doug Ford has just recently enacted using his powers as Premier of Ontario. So we'll see how that unfolds.
How you doing, man?
Doing good yourselves?
Good, buddy.
What's with the batons here?
What of our uniform, man?
I don't see regular cops with batons.
News. I get the question now.
I understand, yeah.
Jerry cans are like public enemy number one, and you had an incident here. Do you want to tell me a little bit more about what happened?
Yeah, so I was just literally around here. A guy came over that was doing photo ops and whatnot, and he had a jerry can, and he was like, do you want to be in it and hold the jerry can? So us three got in it, and we were like, yeah, for sure. And then about 8 or 9 cops came from behind, and we were still taking pictures. I was like, are they gonna like arrest us or whatnot? You know what I mean? They didn't. And then all of a sudden they said, oh, we need to confiscate that, or you need to take it back to your car. And we were like, well, we don't have a car here. And they literally just came over and they said, well, we'll figure out a way to get the jerry can out of here. And we were like, okay, so you can't, and it was empty. There was nothing in it. It was just to kind of prove a point, and it was a prop to take a picture, and they confiscated it, took it. Yeah.
So what brought you out despite the state of emergency that Doug Ford declared?
I want to fight for my freedom. I'm not allowed to go to college because I'm unvaccinated, and I can't play on any sports teams. So I'm fighting for my future.
So Prime Minister Justin Trudeau recently said anyone who joins in the protest is doing so illegally. What do you make of that?
I think he should look at himself and ask himself the same questions, if he's doing the right things here or not. I mean, it's been 2 years now, at least, or more, for some businesses suffering and children suffering and not going to school, like my daughter here. And I think it's time he starts actually looking at us and asking us questions and actually listening to the Canadians instead of just listening to his overlords, just put it that way. My daughter's been suffering for 2 years. I go to the playground, I get yelled at because of all the things he's saying about us by other parents thinking we're doing the wrong thing. So I think, from my experience, I think he should be careful what he's saying, and he's hurting Canadians and hurting our daughters and sons.
You know, personally, I just call him Justina Castro because that's who he is. And he's got to come out of hiding. He's got to let us free. This is Canada. Like, I mean, personally, I think this trucker thing is all government orchestrated. So I think at the end of the day, he's not going to budge. So we're kind of at the end of the day. So to be honest, we just got to keep our lives going. And Justina Castro, you need to come the fuck out of hiding. Like, honestly.
What do you think of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau saying that he's following the science and that these protests are illegal?
Well, if the backbone and the cornerstone of science is facts. So I have the facts. So if he wants to show me the facts, prove otherwise, then give us the information. Show us.
They are the ones that are illegal. They are breaking our Charter of Rights. Every rule in the book they've broken. They even steal the money that people donated for a good cause for the truckers, and and others, right? All that money twice now they do that. That they should all be in jail. That's what I feel.
Premier Doug Ford and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau just stated that the protesters have been heard loud and clear and that it's time to go home now. What do you make of that?
Well, I figure if they, I'm not just here to be heard, I want change, you know? So it's one thing for them to hear us, but if they're really going to hear us, then I want them to show us that they're hearing us by changing something like other provinces and other countries have done, yeah.
And that's, I think, the sentiment, too, is that they're pulling out all these checks, these enforcement options, and yet what the truckers really want is to end the mandate. So why is the government going harder on the enforcement instead of just pulling the mandates?
Yeah, I agree. Like it doesn't make sense. They're saying one thing and they're doing another. So, I mean, it's politics. Like, that's usually what happens, but it's just, unfortunate to see, yeah.
We are protesting for something right? And the protest, like you can see, is nothing nobody's fighting and doing nothing wrong. That's good, you know. And the Prime Minister, I think he's not a Prime Minister. She's a coward because she has to show his face, you know. He has to talk to people.
Both he and Premier of Ontario Doug Ford also said that they've heard the message loud and clear and it's time to go home now. Do you agree?
No, they haven't heard anything. I mean, who have they been talking to? As far as I know, they haven't talked to anyone. So maybe they've heard the CBC. I'm not sure. I mean, people that I know told me not to come down here because swastikas have no place in Canada, and I was here last week. I remember seeing you, and I didn't see any swastikas or Confederate flags. I saw an LGBTQ flag. I saw a lot of people from many different races, and so I don't know, honestly, where people are getting this idea that there's some sort of white supremacist element.
And what happened to freedom? Where's Canada going with this? I've been affected by the lockdowns, lost my job, switched careers, you know what I mean? So, the people that have been affected are the ones that are standing up. The people that didn't lose their jobs or they're just happy going on with life, following the rules, they're okay. But you know what? Other people are suffering, and we need to have compassion for those people.
I don't think they've heard us. If they heard us, they would have talked to us. They would have came out and made some plans to clear these mandates.
Yeah, they said that they're using all of the tools in their toolboxes, and now they're going heavy on the enforcement when they could just remove the mandates. Can you make sense of that?
No, I don't know what they're doing. They're calling for military. They're calling for the tow trucks, and no one's going to help them. They just should remove the mandates.
I don't think they're listening. I don't know. Looking at the Parliament debates, looking at Pierre Poirier, I don't think they're listening. I think they have an audio issue. I don't think they're listening. I think they're listening to something else. I don't know what the hell they're listening to. It's not us, that's for sure.
And now they're taking this heavy enforcement option instead of just lifting the mandates. Why do you think that is?
It's because there's a lot of politics, a lot of money, a lot of power involved. And for them to lift it just like that, they have the power, they have the authority, just like how they put it on us. Say hi. Say hi to the camera.
Time to go home. No, we're going to be out here loud and clear. Look at this. It's all about freedom. Time to go home. No, we're staying out. We're definitely staying out. It's about time. It started with 2 weeks, and now it's been almost 2 years now for this f***ing bullshit. I mean, pardon my language, but that's what it is, right? Nobody likes the truth. We're all being censored. Every platform's being shut down, and it's a joke, to be honest.
We have the right to protest, and that's what we're trying to. This is all about freedom to choose. I should have the freedom to choose to get vaccinated or not, and I have the freedom to choose to protest peacefully and with facts.
No, they won't go home, and I'm right behind them, because until the mandates are gone and we're all back to normal, nobody goes home. And that's why I'm an old lady and I come here and I'm protesting. I'm standing up for those who can't. There's many more, the silent ones, the ones that can't come. I'm sure they're with me. Of course, there's always some people that'll be with the communists. But I think the majority are not. And I stand with them, and I'm with the truckers. Hold the line. That's what they say, hold the line. And they better not take their children with the children's aid. That I'm very much against that.
How long do you think this standoff will continue with government and truckers?
Until they change, like, you know, talking to people, it doesn't matter. You know, they said it's like an act or it's a criminal act. Now you can get a criminal record for showing up here, but you see how many people still show up, and Ottawa is even bigger. Like, I think it's not going to change until they change.
Now is the time to show we are humans. No colors, no race, nothing, you know. We are human. That's the only thing, and just to be happy, you know, to be the children running, dancing, jumping like before, you know. Simple as that.
I think that some of these trucks, like, this is the rock they're willing to die on. I don't think they're going to go anywhere. So it is a little bit disturbing to me because, I don't know how it's going to end. But I really don't think the truckers are going to move. And I don't know why we call them the truckers. Honestly, I think they're the people. Honestly, it's the people.
We haven't had our point made across. They're saying they're going to lift these mandates. When? How long? Are you going to do it until we leave and then another virus is going to come in and then they're going to put it back into place? Like, come on, you know, like, we have to stand for this. We don't know where we're going if we don't. That's what people do not understand. They don't, where are we going with this? It's insane.
Yeah. Do you have a message for Doug Ford or Prime Minister Justin Trudeau?
I think you should come out from hiding and come talk to us.
How long do you think this standoff will take between the truckers, the people, and the government?
The truckers are going to be there. We're going to be there as long as it takes for these mandates to clear up.
This should have been the Saturday that broke the camel's back, which is the government's back. I think this was the Saturday. We'll start seeing mandates getting removed this week. There's just too many of us. There's 40,000 police officers and soldiers combined in Canada. In Ontario and Canada. If they want to go into a violent stance, they can't. We're too many. There's too many of us, so we're too powerful.
We gotta hold the line. We gotta stand strong, and it doesn't end with the truckers. So every Canadian needs to wake up. This doesn't end with the truckers. It ends with every industry, whether it's truckers, doctors, nurses, construction workers, pilots, doctors, janitors, teachers, you name it. It doesn't end with the truckers. So everybody wake the up. Like, honestly, it's been too long.
Lift all the mandates and then go home. Yeah.
Whether they lift the mandates or whatever they lift now, we always have to be vigilant about our governments and unelected officials. They work for us.
That's right. Enough of the medical tyranny.
Sarah, you have a message for the Prime Minister or the Premier?
Good luck winning the next election.
I have 2 young children and I want them to have freedom in their life. I don't want them to live under oppression.
Yeah, and these measures were sold to Canadians as temporary, and yet the government has been going on 3 years of not listening, yet they claim that they are listening and they hear the protesters loud and clear and to go home. Are you going to go home?
No way, and no emergency lasts for years. Emergencies are temporary and they're quickly supposed to be resolved.
What would you like to see with Canada moving forward then if everyone wakes up and gets back to normal life?
Just, I'm not going to say anything going back to normal, but just regular lives, everyone being happy, and then the kids are our future. They're trying to vaccinate 5 to 12-year-olds, which is we all know that, right? We don't want that, but I just want to see this fakeness end. It's all a joke. The world's a lie. The world is a lie. And mainstream media doesn't help, so thank God to you guys, Rebel News.
How long do you think it will take to resolve this standoff between protesters and government?
I don't think even when the mandates are lifted, the protests should never stop with different messages against tyranny.
So we walked up here to the intersection of Bloor and Avenue where it turns into Queen's Park. And as you can see, there's some police here on bikes and a few cruisers, some city vehicles blocking the access to Queen's Park with a heavy-duty tow truck in and behind there. So they are potentially prepared to tow any rigs that try to pass through. Is it intimidation? Are they going to act? I guess we'll have to wait and find out. All right, so the protest is moving up Queen's Park Road up to the south end of Avenue, and I think they're going to march along Bloor Street. So you can see the crowd behind me making its way up toward Bloor, and we're going to follow along, so stay tuned. Well, what brought you out to this illegal protest today?
I guess I'm illegal today, right? As we all are. This is just ridiculous. Never in my life have I seen any government in this country really become the enemy of the people.
What do you make of the Prime Minister and the Premier saying that they've heard the protesters loud and clear, it's time to go home now?
Well, they're still ignoring the Charter of Rights, aren't they?
How long do you think these protests and standoffs are going to last?
That's a very good question. No idea. No idea. It seems like they're growing, so maybe that's going to continue.
Hey there, what brings you out to the illegal protest?
I mean, this is my neighborhood. I gotta show my support. I gotta, even just my extra body, I think will make a difference. I was even before I came, I'm like, are we just gonna keep doing this each weekend? And I'm like, yeah, that's what's necessary. And even if you're sort of at home thinking, oh, is me showing up really gonna make the difference? It does, and you feel united when you're here with other people. This week, hearing all the news and being flip-flop back and forth, you find yourself feeling alone, but I feel united and with like-minded people here, and it feels good. Very Canadian.
Oh, love your news stuff. I love Rebel News.
Well,
yes.
What brings you out to this now illegal protest?
Well, you know what? We still need to stand up for our charter rights and our freedoms. And when the governments, overstretch, when they are just, infringing on all of our freedoms, when they're infringing on our freedoms, we need to see the mandates gone. You cannot mandate people's health or their jobs away. It's unbelievable that our government is this much of a tyranny, really, over the people. So, yeah, love Rebel News.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Hey there. Yeah, Spidey.
Hi.
Hey, Spider-Man. I like your hat. Oh, that's okay if he's shy. Do you want to say something on his behalf? Or
yeah, he just wants to say hi, Canada, and basically for me, give me liberty or give me death. It's at that point now.
Do you think that the government has actually heard the protesters, and would you agree that they say it's time to go home now?
I think they heard us. They've been aware that most of us don't want this anymore, but they choose not to listen. So what I think they're trying to do now is silence everybody and put everybody who they can behind bars that chooses freedom.
Hey! What brings you to this illegal protest?
My daughters fighting for their freedom.
Yeah. Do you think that the government is correct when they say that they've heard the message loud and clear?
No, they didn't hear jack. They got their ears muffled with their own mindset. They're not listening. They're not seeing. They don't want to see.
How long do you think this standoff between the people and the government will last?
I don't know. Hopefully not long enough, because enough people are tired of it. People who were blind to it are seeing it now. I don't know, man. I hope it's not as longer than what it has already been.
It was a nice crowd out there at Queen's Park today, even though out here in this cold, but it was really nice. It's just awesome and great to see you guys out here again as usual.
Of course, yeah.
All right,
Once
thank you
again,
guys.
a peaceful day, right?
Peaceful, of course, but they want to say that it's like, racist led and like, all of that crap that goes with it. So I'm here just to tell you guys that no, it's not. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
If I can give you a hug.
Yes.
God bless you. The Lord give you. We pray that one day we want to be free.
Thank you.
Keep going. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
The Premier and Prime Minister have both said that they hear the protesters. It's time to go home now. What do you think of that?
It's time to bundle up, get outside, and fight for the Canada that we knew it as. So yeah.
Joanna, open your shirt. Pull it open.
What's your message to Canadians that are watching us right now?
We need a new Prime Minister.
I was born in this province. This is the greatest place to ever live and grow up. We had total freedom, and now they're just trying to chip away at it bit by bit. We're both veterans. Both served as paratroopers in Canada, and we're ready to serve again because we've had enough.
How long do you think this standoff will last between people and the government?
The government's starting to capitulate already. They're trying to get out of it. But we'll keep coming back every week. And as you can tell in Toronto, it's been nothing but peaceful protests. And that's our God-given right in Canada to protest.
The ask seems pretty simple, and the mandates, and yet the government's taking a more heavy-handed enforcement approach. Why?
When I heard about Doug Ford yesterday, I just about broke my door off my car. He makes all these promises and he capitulates every chance he can. I gotta wonder if he's not in the pocket of Trudeau, to tell you the truth.
Thank you very much. Stay up to date with our latest reporting as we follow the convoy across Canada with various reporters in various locations, coast to coast in Canada, at convoyreports.com. There you can also sign the petition to the federal government to end the mandates. That's what the truckers would like to achieve by being a constant voice out in the streets of Canada. Again, that website is convoyreports.com.